Well, welcome to Mary Wieden You. So glad to have you along this morning. And we got something really fun and different to talk about. Think back when you were in 8th, 9th grade and even through high school, and somebody said, well, what do you want to be or what do you want to do eventually? And you're like, oh, I don't have a clue. No idea what I want to do. Okay, well, I've got some people in here, some students and their director. They know what they want to do, and it's medical. And I'm just blown away by this stuff, and it's been going on for a number of years. I have several people here from Germantown High School. I have 3 students, and I have the director of their program. What they do is it is called what's the academy actually a name for it? There's I got it right here. Oh, it's a lengthy thing. It's the Academy of Healthcare Excellence, and it's all about students who want to go into the medical profession, or they want to go to sports medicine or what they call regular services, but it's every broad clinical services. If you want to be a doctor, you want to be a nurse, whatever you want to be, you can start doing this when you're in high school. It's like, well, that's pretty mind-blowing. So welcome, everybody. I'm going to introduce everybody, Lance. I'm going to go with the director of CTE, which is the old VOTEC, and it stands for, not the brain thing, but
Career and Technical Education.
Career and Technical Education. It's Blaze King is the director of that. And then I have a student, I've got Sam Herman with me, and I've got Jerica Lewis. Sam is interested in sports medicine, and Jerica is interested in clinical services. She wants to be a doctor, possibly pediatrics. So welcome, everybody. And you're going to meet another student a little bit later on. Such a welcome. It's glad to have you here. And this program is actually, I thought this was something new within the last couple of years. It's actually been going on since 2013.
Yes.
What's the genesis of this?
So 2013 started with a trip to California, looking at some career academies, which is just it's a way to join regular academics and career and technical education or workforce development. Started as a passion for some people in the district, and they decided to implement it at a couple of different high schools, and Germantown was one of the first high schools that got it. And
wow,
the principals got a little bit of a say as to which pathway fit within their building, and so they look at the needs of the students, the community that we're in, and you look at our district, and we're very close to a lot of medical facilities, and so medical was an easy fit. So decided to go with the pathway for the Academy of Healthcare Excellence, and it's just grown since then.
That's amazing. Let me tell the audience how they can get a hold of you and us. You can call us up at 888-808-8637. You can text us at 601-879-4395. Again, 601-879-4395. Do not text and drive, please. And then you can check us out. You can watch supertalk.fm/Mary is how you can see us. So check us out. And so you've been doing this. How long have you been doing this, Blaze?
So this is my 9th year in the district, and all 9 years have been with Career and Technical Education. So 6 years as the director, and having a really good time seeing these programs grow, and what was the original vision kind of come to fruition and continue to be something that the students can take and learn and flourish with.
Well, when you were their age, starting with 8th grade maybe, and then on through high school, did you know what you wanted to be one day?
I
mean, it's just a surprise.
Other than a professional baseball player, which I think is what most boys want to be that play baseball, other than a real career, I didn't know.
Well, our producer, Lance Talbot, played baseball at Ole Miss. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, all right, Lance.
It was a while back.
Well, that's okay.
Back in the good old days.
He's a Northwest ranking guy who went to. Where'd you go first? Arkansas first, and then
Auburn.
Ole Miss?
Ole Miss. Yeah, Auburn first. Ole Miss. Went to the World Series with Auburn, freshman. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, but oh well.
No, I wanted to come home.
Did you know that you were going to grow up to do what you're doing here now?
No.
I had no idea about that either.
Honesty's the best policy, right? I had no idea. I wanted to be a vet.
You want to be a vet too? Oh, I didn't know that.
Well,
maybe everybody wants to be a vet.
Grew up with labs and dogs and every animal you could imagine, so it was just natural.
Yep. And did you take a look at the curriculum and go, oh my God, look at that math?
No, I mean I started out in pre, at Auburn, and it just time. It was,
really?
When you played sports at that level, it was just difficult to be a straight A student, which they expected you in that field, and so I backed it down a little and. I've regretted that for the rest of my life. Well, don't ever tell you regrets don't exist.
Yeah, really,
they do.
I've been bemoaning this. Why my father, who was a brilliant math person, well, he should have been a vet, and we should have been vets together. And he should have said to me, "Hey, I'll tutor you through the math part of it." That was the only thing that's what turned me away from vet med was the math, because I don't have a brain for math. He should have said, either I'll come up to school or you come home on the weekends, because I wanted anatomy and surgery were my things. But we didn't get around to doing that. Like, gee, thanks a lot, man. Of course, long gone now. Anyway, but these kids know these things. And I'm going to start right in front of me is Sam Herman, and you're in sports medicine. So how did you come to be in this program, and how did you know that was what you probably want to do one day?
So I chose sports med over the clinical part because sports have always been a big part of my life, and I just always thought that I wanted to be close to sports when I grew up. And so I figured physical therapy would be the best way to do that, most realistically over professional sports. And I also love sciences, so just being able to do sports med would be able to combine those two.
Do you want to be a doctor eventually, or do you want to do PT? Is that your route, or what? Physical therapy or where?
Right now I'm kind of debating between PT or also orthopedic surgery.
Ooh, that would be good. Well, here, you could be both. You could do the surgery, give them the PT. I told Sam I'm a good example for sports medicine because I have 2 replaced hips because of ice skating, because for years I skated here and crashed and banged and jumped and fell and had a big time, not knowing that I was tearing my hips up until a few years went by, like, oops, you have to have your hips replaced. Oh, okay. No more ice skating for me, but they do great work here. So sports medicine, the company called Sports Medicine, do they sponsor your part of the program, or how does that work? Or is this generic sports medicine?
So it's generic sports medicine, and we don't have any.
Oh, you don't have a particular one?
We have advisory boards.
Yeah.
And so we try to bring professionals in to give input as to what curriculum experiences the students should see, as well as clinical visits, site visits, and opportunities for them. And so we partner with multiple physical therapists, hospitals, doctors' offices, different things to give the students some exposure to those careers before they leave
jump
high
into
school.
it. So, Jerica, how did you know at your young age, like, I think I'd like to be a doctor? I've got that in my head. How did you know?
Well, it really stemmed from my mom. She's in healthcare as well, and so I always liked seeing her come home and tell me about her day and being in the scrubs. And honestly, from when I was watching Doc McStuffins when I was little, like, I just knew that that's really what I wanted to do. And then it just spiraled into 9th grade, and I applied, and I got in, and I really liked it, and so I just kept it going.
What year are you now?
I'm a senior.
And what about you, Sam? What year are you?
I'm a junior.
Oh, okay. So do you know where you're going to go to college? I mean, you're sticking
Not
with
at
this.
the moment. I'm still deciding.
But looking around.
Yes.
Might Ole Miss, UMMC be where you'll end up one day?
Probably.
Probably so.
Yes.
That's not too bad. And so you all, if somebody would decide that upon graduation, well, I don't think I want to do this, that's okay, right?
Absolutely, and we take that vision with our students is we want to expose them to as many things as possible, make them as marketable as possible when they graduate, so whether it's college or workforce, they're well equipped to go into that field and be successful. But the other thing we look at is, especially the health science side of things, blood may not be their thing. They may get in and realize, that's get a little queasy. Well, healthcare may not be for you, but if we can establish that in high school, then we've saved that student time and effort and money going into either the junior college or the 4-year college realm. So we try to take the view that even if they decide they don't want to be in healthcare excellence, if we've exposed them to it and helped steer them in the direction they do want to go, then we've done our job.
Well, do you get to go and see clinical actually settings? Do you get to go into operating rooms, or I see somewhere on here you do get to go gross anatomy lab? You get to see that to UMMC?
Yes.
What is gross anatomy? It sounds gross, but what is just general? What is gross anatomy versus regular Gray's anatomy, let's say? Is there a difference? I don't know. What is gross anatomy? Just regular anatomy?
So back in Core 2, which would be your 10th grade year, we took a trip to UMMC to see the gross anatomy lab and the cadavers in there. And so we had doctors and students kind of just show us about stuff that they're working on with the cadavers and just stuff like that.
So you could be working on hip replacement cadavers, I guess. I mean, that or knees and stuff like that. That's pretty fascinating. And Derek, you want to do peds, right?
Yes,
Pediatrics. Do you want to do surgery, or what do you want to do?
Probably just a pediatrician.
That's enough, right?
Yes.
That's enough stuff to keep you busy. Have you been to a lab or anything like that? Have you seen any of these things?
I have. And I've also I shadowed a pediatrician this summer at a clinic, and it was very mind opening, and it really showed me like a pediatrician's day-to-day, everyday day-to-day.
I guess it would be everything from newborns practically
Yes.
on up to what, 10 or 12?
Yes, so she had a lot of newborns, and people mainly came in for checkups, the babies, and then some people did came in because some tested positive for like COVID and strep and stuff like that.
Wow. And you have to be on the watch, don't you,
Yes.
for all kinds of stuff. You got to see the condition of the patient, and not all kids are the same in terms of, what they can do. Do they ask you questions like, well, my baby's 5 months old. Shouldn't he or she be able to do this, that, or the other thing?
Yes,
Questions,
they
stuff
do.
like that? Really?
Yes.
Wow. What a learning experience. Well, what I think is cool about this is, so you're in high school and you're taking college, you're taking graduate courses, essentially, the basics of graduate, right? It's basically because you got to go through your 4 years of regular stuff. And then you get into medical school. So when you get into medical school, you'll be able to look back and say, when I was at Germantown, when I was a junior at Germantown, we did this. Have you been, by the way, Jerica, so you're the senior, have you been in the program for all the way?
Yes, ma'am. This is my 9th grade year.
Wow. So you're committed.
Yes.
You're going to be a doctor one day.
Yes.
You have to come on the show. And you remember me? I'm Jerry Lewis. Yes, doctor. Yeah, Blaze, you're about to jump in with something.
No, I just think that's it just speaks to the quality of professors or instructors that we have to really expose. They're all professionals in their field that decided to come back and share their knowledge with the students. And we're blessed and fortunate to have individuals that have such a level of expertise to expose these students to really higher level courses and higher level courses and content, so that when they do get to that next level, it's second nature to them. They've already been there. They've already been exposed.
That's fascinating. By the way, is math included? Is there math in some of this stuff? I'm sure there will be when you get to medical school. You don't have to do that now. Interestingly, too, you also got to see the air care helicopter, right? Did y'all go to see that?
Yes.
Did you get in it? Did you get to go anywhere? Did you get to go in it for a flight?
No.
No, just got to see it.
Yes.
Well, I flew in the helicopter, but it was just traffic. It was a small helicopter for 4 people, whereas I've never been in air care or any of those helicopters. I guess they're quite large. It must be like looking at a little hospital room. What was it like?
It was very small. Like, it was amazing how they fit like a stretcher, and they have like one person, like the air medic on the side, and they have 2 people in the front. It was really mind-opening of how small it was and how much that they can do in such a small space.
So they've got all the machines that we see, the monitors. They got monitors around that person. So, and up in the front of the helicopter, you got the pilot.
Yes.
And then the person next to him, I don't know what that would be. I don't know. Was it a medical person or a helicopter person?
We'll call it a co-pilot.
Oh, well, just, it wasn't a medical person anyway. But then you have your medical people. Wow, that's quite fascinating. When we used to take video of when we would do the helicopter traffic, sometimes there just wasn't any traffic to talk about, and we were in Flowood and we were near UMMC, so we'd watch and we would put this on video because people get a kick out of that. It'd be coming in and we watch it land. That's a big deal. Landings, you have to have smooth landings. That's for anything in aviation, I guess. Smooth landings, and then we'd watch people maybe come rushing out to take them off the helicopter. Take the patient off the helicopter. But would you ever want to do that?
No.
Because
I don't like heights.
Oh, okay. But funny thing though, I don't either. But in a helicopter, it's like any kind of a plane. There's a floor in it, because your feet are on the floor. I mean, you don't think that you're going to fall out is what I'm saying. You don't go, oh. It's not like being on a chairlift on a ski slope where you don't have anything. That can be creepy for an acrophobic person. But your floor is there and it's okay. The only thing that rattles people is when a helicopter lifts up, it'll lift straight up, but then it'll tilt forward quite a bit to get air under it, and some people think, we're going to fall over, or I'm going to fall out. You're not going to fall out, and it's not going to tip over. But that's the only thing that's a little. But then after you do that a time or two, it's cool. So if you get a chance to do it, all of you just do it.
It's been really fascinating from an exposure perspective, because when we do bring air care or when we bring UMMC's helicopter out, it's a joint effort because the sheriff's department shows up, Gluckstadt Fire shows up, and they actually use it as a training exercise for them as well. And so it's fascinating that they not only get to see the air care, but they get to see how all the different agencies work together to call the coordinates in, to bring the helicopter in, and then just seeing how the interagencies have to work together to coordinate all that to make things happen. So while they get to see air care, they also get to see the other side of first responders and how
Yes.
they work. It's just it's a fascinating experience.
And the doctor or doctors come out from the hospital to get the patient, and then they're in charge of it, and everybody else is. But yeah, everybody has a part to play. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So Sam, what part of sports medicine? You said either PT or orthopedic surgery. Would you want to specialize in arms, shoulders, knees, hips? Because there's so much feet. This is ankles.
So I would probably want to specialize in either elbow and shoulder, most likely.
Yeah.
So because with baseball, those are the injuries you typically see.
This guy here is going to he's going to be printing money if he goes with them elbows.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Really? How about tennis elbows? I don't know.
Probably most likely tennis elbow, and then you have Tommy John surgery too.
Tommy John surgery?
So that's with your UCL and your elbow. You get it from throwing baseball.
Yeah, both of my brother-in-laws had it done.
Really?
You can throw harder now. They use cadaver ligaments and to increase instead of having to pull it out of your leg or something. Buddy Savoy, Dr. Savoy, was very important in that type of innovation in the field. And Dr. Andrews in Birmingham has always been kind of the leader. And if you want to make money, you go watch what he's doing.
Absolutely.
They're printing it over there. And elbows go out. There's only so many throws in it.
Wow.
And at some point you got to have it, fused back.
But you got to do it all so perfectly. I mean, it's got to be done so that, nobody would know. Nobody. I wouldn't know that I had fake hips. I don't think about it. It's just not a part of my life. They're there, but they're not. I don't go, oh my God, watch out. Don't have to watch out for stuff like that. So that's interesting that you want to do that. But
Sam, do you play baseball?
Yes, sir.
There you go. That's over at Germantown, huh?
Yes, sir. I'm PO over at Germantown. Yes, sir.
Pitcher only. See, this guy, he already knows what he wants to do. I like that. Is your favorite part of baseball practice, isn't it PFP and running triangles? I know you love that.
Is.
Yeah, you love that stuff.
Don't know what they're talking about, but I'll tell you what, we're going to take a break here. We'll be back in just a few minutes. We'll spend another segment with our folks from the Academy of Healthcare Excellence at Germantown High School. Stay where you are. Anyway, welcome back to Mary Wieden You. So I've got in the studio, this is so fascinating, the Academy of Healthcare Excellence and et cetera from Germantown High School, 3 students who will be probably doctors one day. One of them, I'm not sure if he's going to be head of physical therapy or an orthopedic surgeon, but the 2 women with him are going to be doctors, and their guide, their counselor, Blaze King is his name, director of CTE, which stands for not in the brain, it stands for
Career and Technical Education.
Yeah, and they have this wonderful program where you can take in your curriculum in high school. If you want to go into clinical services, which would be doctors and nurses, or if you want to go into sports medicine, doctors and nurse, you wouldn't be a nurse, you'd be a physical therapist. And you can do this when you're in high school. If you know, I want to be a doctor, or I want to be a nurse, and I want to do these things. You can do that, which is pretty fascinating. And by the way, if you decide you want to drop out, you can. It's not a loss to you. But when you go to medical school, first you got to go to college and you go to medical school. The things that you're learning now are things that will come back to you because you'll say, yeah, I remember that when I was at Germantown. Right now we're joined with Shelby Holt. She is another one of the students. She wants to be, what kind of a doctor do you want to be?
I'm interested in being a pharmacist.
Ah, okay. Well, you got that too. When did you decide that's what you want to do?
It was actually very recently. I competed at a HOSA organization event.
You have to explain what HOSA, H-O-S-A.
Okay. So it's the Health Occupation Students of America Association. So what we do is we have this club at our school where we go and we compete at district, state, even international levels. And we compete in all different kinds of activities to help.
Like what?
I personally competed in medical math.
Whoa.
Yes.
Whoa. Okay.
It's very competitive.
Yes, and it's very difficult too, I would imagine. But it's physics.
Yes.
I mean, it's way up yonder. Oh, good for you. And so go ahead. You competed, and then you said what to yourself?
So I competed, and I realized that I really enjoy medical math over everything else that we've learned so far. I know, crazy, right?
No, I think it's admirable. You can make a lot of money as a tutor for people like me who don't know math worth beans. But that's good. So what part of pharmacy do you want to get into? Be a pharmacist or what?
I'm really interested in compound pharmacy right now. So, I already have the medications, but I transfer them into other substances for people to use. For example, if a children can't take a pill, we can actually break down the medicine and turn it into a lollipop or something, so they're able to take it.
Well, my dog is having to take some medicine, and that for all of her, she's 12 years old, and for all those years, anytime she ever had to take a pill, jam it down her throat and have an argument about it. So lately, we've converted to peanut butter. Put the pill in peanut butter, and hey, have some peanut butter, which she likes. But that compounding, that I wonder what compounding meant. By the way, because you hear people advertise, well, we compound. Well, okay, what does that mean? Okay, so that's cool.
Yes, ma'am.
So you've had compounded medicines yourself?
I haven't personally. We did go on a field trip the other day to UMC for their outreach program, and they had a booth for their pharmacy program where we got to experiment in different compounds.
Oh, cool. Actually create them?
No.
Or see that they were created.
We participated, so they gave us Smarties, not real medication, and we got to turn them into different forms of medications.
And so lollipop is one thing. What else was something else that you would did you compound into?
You can turn it into a cream or liquid medication. Anything you can think of.
Something like that.
Hey, I was a fundraiser for the School of Pharmacy at Ole Miss, and I will tell you, that is the coolest field because of the diversity of it. About 6 or 7 different career or discipline fields like pharmacology, pharmacognosy. Then you get into, the actual pharmacy side, which she's referring to. But Ole Miss's program is amazing. Brilliant people, and goodness at the smart folks that come out of that, what she's wanting to do. I was very lucky to be surrounded by so many amazing and brilliant researchers and doctors and teachers.
Is this
and then
recently?
you get to know. Back when I was a fundraiser years ago.
Oh. In another incarnation.
Well, right before I became a stockbroker, I did that for several years. But no, I just want to make a point. That is one heck of a field, great opportunity, and I think the placement rate's like 100%.
Wow,
they need
amazing.
the jobs. They need the people.
That's good. It speaks well, I think, for our medical. We're going to have this big debate over now. Going to be a new Health and Human Services Secretary, Bobby Kennedy Jr., and all this kind of stuff, and talking about medicines and where they're made and all this kind of stuff. But it's good to know that you can learn practical uses of things right here. I mean, of course, a pharmacist doesn't just open up a bottle of something and say, here's put your name on there. Sometimes you have to make them, don't you?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. So what were you going to say, Blaze?
Oh,
that's pretty fascinating too.
Very fascinating.
You have not become a medical person, though, have you? You're in charge of it, but
I have not. I try to dabble in a few things just to have some working knowledge of it, but I let the professionals take care of it.
Do you know where you want to go to school?
I actually want to go to Ole Miss.
Okay.
And apply for their pharmacy program.
Yeah, you'll be here. And so, but you don't know. And we had earlier, we had Sam Herman. Did you know where you wanted to go to college? No, don't know. Or med school. Haven't decided. Well, that's okay. I mean, you got plenty of time that you can do that. I just, like I say, can't get over this part about, first of all, that you're young and know what you want to do. And the other thing is when so you got to go through regular college, then you got to get into med school. And these things will come back to you. Did you go to some of the other clinics? Did you do like the blood bank and all that part, multiple labs, toxicology and so on? Did you go to that?
So they actually came to our school, and we did a bunch of simulation labs in our classrooms because we have this whole hospital set up within one of our classrooms where we get to actually act as the doctor. And
whoa,
yes, I know.
That's really cool. Okay, Jerica Lewis, who wants to be a pediatrician, did you get to do that too?
I did. Yes. One day, Mississippi Blood Bank, they came one day last year, and they pricked our fingers and told us what our blood type was, and it was really, really cool.
But when you're in the hospital setting, I mean, so was there a pediatrics lab, or what would be the right word for it?
Well, the only thing with the pediatrics was we learned how to take the infant or child's height and weight. And then we also learn how to do CPR on an infant and child.
Oh, that's very good. Everybody ought to know. We're all supposed to know CPR to begin with anyway, right? Mm-hmm. That's going to be a good thing. So how does this program grow? How do you make it grow?
So it's grown a lot since its inception.
How many kids, by the way, in the program?
About 300 students in the program right now.
Oh.
And Germantown High School has a little over 1,200, almost 1,300 students, and 300 of them participate in this academy.
Wow, quick math will tell me pretty good on that one.
So that's we're proud of the numbers. It's they take about 75 students every year that comes in as a freshman class, and there is a capacity based on the amount of instructors we've had, and we've been fortunate to add. We have 4 instructors now.
Are they full staff, full time on your staff, or?
We have 3 that are full time staff and 1 that is an athletic trainer and then teaches for us as well. But they are the athletic trainer for Germantown High School, so they're on site pretty much the whole time.
Wow.
But they only teach class on every other day.
How many schools in Mississippi are doing this? Do you know?
So there's a push for career academies. I can't give you an exact number of schools, but what I will tell you is that this academy, the Academy of Healthcare Excellence, was we had 2 schools in Madison County that became national model academies at the same time, and they were the first ones in Mississippi. And this academy was one of those academies, the Academy of Healthcare Excellence, which is just a national recognition that follows a rubric and states that we're doing things as far as advisory board, cohorting classes. So they have the opportunity to take academic classes along with their career and technical classes at the same time. One of the things that we know about education is if we can't answer the why for students, it makes learning difficult. And with this academy, what it does is it gives students a chance to answer the why. So you go to math class, why do I need to know this? Well, they get to apply it in the career and technical class that they go to. Same thing with science and with English. And so that's part of it, the career academy, the advisory boards, and then having our teachers work together to understand that. So they were one of the first, and we continue to grow by promoting down into the middle school, and then they also take trips to the elementary schools to do hand washing seminars and lessons. And
that's interesting.
They do some recruiting, especially during October at the football games, where they're out promoting breast cancer awareness and just building a brand.
Do you get to wear scrubs for these things at all?
Yes.
You do. Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty cool. So I was like, ooh, it's credibility and it's professionalism, is what that is. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's really unique to see when they're walking around the halls because the students take pride in the fact that they get to wear scrubs. And then they also do we took a little spin off of med school, and they do a white coat ceremony. Do y'all want to talk a little bit about the white coat ceremony?
So you get your white coat when you enter into your junior years, either if you decide to do clinical or sports med. And it's basically a ceremony where they introduce yourself, call your name, and you get an actual white coat, and you get a stethoscope as well. And
really? A real
nice.
Cool.
Yes.
A real stethoscope.
Yes.
I mean, I think this, and you can have that forever.
Yes.
With you. So when you go to medical school, they'll say, well, you need to buy it. No, don't need to buy one of those. Well, that's really very cool. So this does not interfere with it. It complements all the other courses that you're taking. I mean, you're not missing out on anything else.
No.
You're taking this in addition to, but not. It's not extracurricular. It's part of your curriculum. It's daytime stuff. What class or classes are you missing by coming to be here on the radio? I'm curious to know. Did you miss anything today? It's Friday, but
Yes, we actually both missed our mentoring class this morning. So we go to our elementary schools maybe twice a week, and we help mentor the younger children.
And do they ask questions or?
Yes, they do. Yes,
really,
a lot.
Really. Like, what do they want to know?
They want to know everything. They want to know what we're doing with our lives, what's happening in high school, and where we want to go in college.
You don't have a whole lot of time, do you? Because with regular school is one thing, but with medical stuff, that's even more, demands a lot of your time. But when you're done with all that schooling and you get your degrees and your doctors or whatever you're going to be, then you can play.
Yes.
You just know that you can't play for a lot of years. That's okay. But that's cool about are they little kids? Well, they're elementary. Are they little?
Yes. Kindergarten.
I mentor 2 kindergartners and then 1 first grader.
Wow.
And I have 3 kindergartners that I mentor.
And how often do you see them?
2 days. 2 days a week.
2 days a week?
Yes.
Wow. Are they regular school? Regular elementary school. Is it out in Madison County, or where is it going to be?
It is out in Madison
County. And so at a young age, they just want to know things about doctors. Is that what it is? I guess.
Well, they have a program that they do for students apply for it as they go into their senior year, and they actually go into the schools in their zone. So the Germantown High School students will go to Mansdale or to Madison Crossing and spend time with those students. And it's a broad program that happens at most of our schools in Madison County, just to invest in the younger generation and build pride in your community and in your school, and then what it takes to be successful as you go through school.
Wow. I should look at the cheat sheet because it's right here on there. Attend Maverick Zone Elementary Schools to teach kindergartners hand washing techniques. Why is that so important?
Because children, they put their hands in their mouths all the time, and they don't really understand the importance of clean hands.
and that's new, I would think. Teaching kids. I mean, you think you learn that stuff at home, but even if you learn at home, it doesn't matter because school day is touching everything. Do you use hand washing, hand sanitizer stuff? Is that what they use to teach them?
So we actually used a glow-in-the-dark paint, but we didn't tell the children. So we painted a beach ball, and we threw it around the classroom. And then once we turned off the lights, we were like, this is how germs are able to spread without you even knowing.
Oh,
And so we basically did a lesson about the pathology and how they spread.
good one. That's really good. Hey, y'all, thank you very much. Two wonderful segments, and you all can come back anytime. I mean, this has been fascinating. We got to talk about some other stuff, just do some political stuff, I guess, on the other side of the program. But thanks an awful lot for coming. I really like this an awful lot.
Thanks. We appreciate you having us.
Yeah, well, come on back, and good luck to everybody, okay? And we'll be back in a few minutes. Hey everybody, welcome back. We'll spend some time together for this last segment here. The other day, by the way, Lance, you played Hound Dog, right, by Elvis? Well, yesterday, I heard Hound Dog by Big Mama Thornton.
Mm-hmm. I love Big Mama. She's awesome.
Whoa. Yeah, I mean, Elvis was mildly fair, but she was something else.
She brings the house down.
Yeah. I was listening to this on Blues, BB King Blues station.
That's where that's actually funny you said that. That's where I learned of Big Mama. And then so you go out on YouTube and you start listening to everything.
Yeah.
Years ago,
Yeah.
I was just cruising through somewhere listening to the Sirius XM, BB King, and I heard Big Mama Thornton. And Blind Willie McTell is one of those. There's some great obscure stuff on there that's amazing.
Well, there was a BB King with, what was the woman's name now? The song was Ain't Nobody's Business What We Do. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember what her name was. But, it was fabulous. Oh, man. Then I went and looked it up, and I've got it bookmarked on my iPad. It was great. Yeah, you listen to I learned Buddy Guy. I'd never heard of Buddy Guy. And meanwhile.
Yeah, he recorded in Oxford a good bit.
He did? Yeah. He's great. There was a PBS special of him that ran a couple weekends, I guess it was, and he had this suit on with polka dots. Maybe you know that. Maybe that's his trademark.
I love Buddy Guy.
Oh my God! Yeah, I mean, I liked it
in a bottle.
Anyway, but just playing the guitar is unbelievable, and he's cute about it. He has fun.
He smiles a lot.
Yeah, he does. He's having a good time, and that's absolutely wonderful. But yeah,
I know. I want to mention that I believe at Parchman today that Bobby Rush is going to be entertaining the inmates.
Oh, good.
And love Bobby Rush.
Heard him on Blues the other day, too, on that station, BB King Blues.
Bobby is one of the best in the business and honestly one of the nicest guys there is. He smiles. He looks like he's 40 years old. And I love the guy.
Well,
love
we should
his
have
music.
him on the show because, we did one time, I don't know, whenever this was. By the way, folks, a year ago right now, I was in the hospital out of it. I had been found on my floor. It was the 14th. Last year was Tuesday was the 14th, found on my kitchen floor, passed out in a pool of blood, and rushed off to the hospital. I was very, very anemic and very, just run down completely. And there are 2 weeks of my life that I don't have any idea about. And then I had to spend some time in rehab because first of all, we didn't know if I lost my mind or not. That's why I had to take that cognitive stuff because I was asking. I went to rehab and said, why do I have to take? What is this? This is like kindergarten stuff. They go, well, because I said, I'm a talk show host, and I can talk for a whole hour without stopping. And they said, well, that was before your fall. We don't know what you're like now. So, okay. But anyway, I didn't, that was that. It was a year ago. I can't believe it was a whole year ago that happened. But anyway.
Well, time flies, doesn't it? I mean,
it does. Time flies.
Sitting right here going, she's not here yet.
Yes, and you were the one who started it off, weren't you? Thank you very much, because I wasn't here. And, I should have thought about that when Joe Lee was here the other day, because he brought a woman who's a friend who goes to my church to be on the show. So it was Joe Lee and Monica Walton. They were supposed to be on the show. I was like, where's Mary? Where's Mary? So you started it. What do you call Will, right? Is that how that went? And then Will called one of my neighbors who's been on the show with veterans, Chuck Odom, and Chuck called the people next door to me, and they were all on the show eventually when I came back to work. The priests, Sarah and Ray, and they came, and Sarah spotted my feet on the floor. She said, if you were 4 inches more into your kitchen, I would never have seen you. Wouldn't have known because nobody knew what happened to me. But the feet were on the floor. Sarah screamed. They had to break down my door, which was fine. Insurance paid for it, and rescued me. And then I got taken to the hospital. Those 2 weeks, the couple of just flash memories that I remember about that. But then I had to go to rehab. I couldn't walk because I've been off my. That was really weird. I've never been off of my feet for 2 weeks. But anyway, then eventually, came home and I had lost a lot of weight. I had to recuperate at home, but at least I could walk. So anyway, thanks to everybody who saved my life. Golly, I can't believe. Yeah, a whole year ago.
And the dog sitter.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We need to talk. We need to at least say thank you for the dog.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
There were 5 women in my neighborhood who would come and let Heidi out various times of the day and the night. Well, then one day, Susan Walker, who lives down the street, came and she said, Heidi, you seem really sad and you haven't eaten your food. You're coming home with me. And so Susan took her home, and Heidi just had a big time down there. She really did. She was down there for a couple weeks, and Susan said, she's really good. She's a good what do you call it? Crowd dog. That's not the right word. Pack dog. She's a good pack dog. And I said, well, the first 3 years of her life, she would go upriver camping. So everybody's got dogs up there. So she'd be around dogs all of her life. She was very cool about that. And in fact, Heidi bonded with her because one time I asked Susan, would she bring Heidi's clippers to me because they came to visit me at the rehab place. And Heidi doesn't like, what dog likes to have their nails clipped anyway. So I got out the clippers and said, Heidi, let's clip your nails. And she went and got in Susan's lab and hugged on her like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. I said, oh, my goodness, Heidi, you've thrown me aside. But anyway, oh, yeah, that was, it was all very wonderful. Everybody was so wonderful. Susan and her husband, they've taken dogs in for various reasons. And I was just so happy to know that Heidi was down there.
She was in good hands.
Oh, yeah. Did you ever meet Susan? I don't. No, Susan. No,
sure
Susan wouldn't be here. She couldn't be here when I came back to work. She couldn't be here. She was out of town, I guess it was. But she had 2 big labs, one of whom has since passed away. But she's got this big. He's just the sweetest boy. He's totally blind, but he's the sweetest boy. I mean, it doesn't matter to him. Blind people and blind dogs are like that. They get along real well in life, and they manage. Well, I thought we could go over some of these the lists. Have you talked about this a lot on other shows? I don't know. The lists of people. Who are the nominees? What you think about them? Well, I think it's wonderful about Marco Rubio, Secretary of State. I mean, he knows a heck of a lot of stuff. Attorney General Matt Gaetz, though, I'm not sure about. By the way, who had Matt Gaetz's district in Florida before Matt Gaetz got it? There's a good trivia question for you. And he's the guy who had it has become. He was a Republican. Now he's off the deep end with liberals, and he's whacked. I don't watch him. He's on MSNBC. Joe Scarborough.
Joe
Scarborough was the representative from Florida, the Panhandle of Florida, and I know that because my parents lived down there, and they said, "Oh yeah, we have this guy Joe Scarborough. He's an all right guy." Oh, not so much anymore. But anyway, and Matt Gaetz quit anyway yesterday. I think there's going to be problems with him. But there's going to be problems with everybody just on general principle because the Democrats, bless their hearts, are just going to be ugly about everybody. Any little ugly thing that happened. But I think there's some stuff on Matt Gaetz that might be a little questionable. HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Bobby Kennedy. I think that's a stellar place for him, and I think he'll handle his confirmation hearings just fine. I think he'll be all right on that. I got a kick out of Trump saying, "Just don't get into the gold beneath our feet. Don't get into the gas and oil. That's mine. That's mine to deal with. You just get into that other stuff." UN Ambassador Elise Stefanik. Don't know anything about her other than I've heard the name. Border Czar Tom Homan. I like that. If you've watched over the years, he's on Fox a lot. He's destined for this job. He's been saying for years and years what we ought to do. Well, okay, now you got the job. You got to do it now, buddy. And that job does not require Senate confirmation, by the way. The next one does. Defense Secretary, this was a surprise, Pete Hegseth. Do you know who he is? Have you ever seen him?
Yeah,
Pete
I'm very familiar with Pete.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of his, actually.
Yeah, he's
I know
pretty
that
good.
People are going to say he's not qualified and all this stuff.
He's only in the National
But
Guard.
take your time to go out to the Sean Ryan podcast. Sean Ryan podcast, ex-Navy SEAL. He does a great job. He's interviewed Pete Hegseth in long form and almost everybody else, and you get a great idea of what Pete Hegseth's all
I know
about.
who he is. Oh, I know.
Fantastic guy.
He's
I'm just saying
so
for those that don't know
pro-military.
him much.
Oh, yeah. He's so pro-military, and yes, he has great experience. He was an officer. So was the National Guard. He served. He was deployed. He's been to Afghanistan and some other place over there. He knows his stuff, and he's good.
I think he was in Iraq at one
Could
time,
be.
I believe.
Secretary of Veterans Affairs Doug Collins, what former Mississippi's representative was very much involved in creating that department, by the way. Who would that be, folks? You know who that is? Secretary of Veterans Affairs. Who pushed for years and years for veterans to have their own department and have their own concerns taken care of? Was G.V. Sonny Montgomery. And he was, yes, he was very, very instrumental in getting that whole thing started. And it's been years now, but he was part of that. National Security Advisor Michael Waltz, I know who he is. White House Counsel, Solicitor General, Secretary of Homeland Security. Homeland Security. Now that's Kristi Noem. I'm not real fond of her either. She's the one who killed the dog. You don't, if you're killing a dog because it acts up, for God's sakes, don't talk about it, and then don't write about it, and then don't write about it in a book that's going to last forever. If you're going to write about it anyway, if you're that dumb, that was really stupid. It should have been maybe a story, but in a book. I hope there must be other redeeming qualities about her, because she's going to have to be over the Secret Service, for heaven's sakes. That's one of her things. CIA Director John Ratcliffe. I don't know much about him, but I know he's a good pick, John Ratcliffe. DNI Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, she's a good one too. She's a smart woman. And where does she know? Well, she's a smart woman. Don't worry about it. She'll take care of business. EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin. If you don't know who Lee Zeldin is, he was a member of the congressional delegation from New York State, and he did run for governor against Hochul, Kathy Hochul. He lost, obviously, to her, but he's a smart guy. I've seen him on stuff. U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. Well, that's a good thing, too. Mike Huckabee's been going to Israel practically since he was a kid. He's very much dedicated to the whole plight of the Israelis, and very much on their side, and does whatever he can for them. Department of Government Efficiency. Oh, I love this one. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. Boy, oh boy, there's a pair of electric heads. Ramaswamy ain't he's a pretty smart guy. I think that'll be good. I can't wait to see these things when they start getting their hearings. And then some other people, I don't know who they are. James Blair, Chief of Staff for Legislative Stuff. I'd like to know who is going to be the press secretary for the White House. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Megyn Kelly?
I want it Mandy Gunasekara.
Oh, okay. That's the one from here, right?
Yeah. Okay. I think that's who I'm behind.
Is she on the list?
I don't know, but that's who I'm saying it should be.
I don't know who it'll be. Anyway, all right, everybody. Thanks a lot. We'll be back on Tuesday. Have a good weekend.